have you any wool? Yes, sir, yes, I have many bags full. One for the ones who don't know how to behave. One for the ones who don't know what to say. I'll give a bag to anyone I see. If you can hear my voice, then you're a human being.
Are you ready for me?
Yeah, I'm already.
Oh, terrible.
No, you're fine. Hello, welcome to my channel. I am so glad that you decided to stop by and hang out with me and see what I am up to today. Today, I have my twin sister with me. Yeah, okay, and I'm going to ask her some questions because honestly, she was on a first name basis with Billy Graham. Really, she was. And I'm hoping that you guys are going to be able to look into our eyes, see my character in my past videos, this video, whatever it is. I'm not here to bash nobody. I'm only here to tell the truth. And before we get started, I have another question that I would like to ask my sister before we get into the whole Billy Graham thing. Okay, so my sister went to a church shortly after my mom died. And, you know, most people, Christians, and people who, you know, after they lose family members and things like that, it can draw them closer to the Lord. And so they might desire to be a part of the church. Well, this is what Charity did. So I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about what happened.
Okay, well, I went to this church. I did feel a little uneasy. I did not feel very welcome most of the time that I was there. I did have friendly faces, but at the same time, they still made me feel like I wasn't a part of them. I didn't belong with them, even though I should have belonged with those people. I have plenty of reason to feel like I belong to those people because I've known them for the majority of my life.
A lot of people feel this way. I'm sure you can relate.
So, I had been going for quite a while. Mom had passed, I guess it'd been a year.
I don't even think it had quite been a year.
Maybe like 8 to 10 months.
Yeah.
Something like that. I've been going, and I had decided that I had been a member of our old church that our father preached at for so long, and I had not been to that church in so long. I decided I wanted to get my name off of that church and become a member of this church. Well, I was set down by the preacher and someone that I know extremely well, that I thought that, you know, I looked up to. I just considered him, you know, a great person. He looked at me and he said, in order for me to become a member of the church, that I would have to prove my devotion and attend solid consecutively for a year before they would allow me to be a member.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that I've already put Bible scripture and things at the bottom of the screen there, how wrong that actually is. In fact, most churches, any church, would be very open to welcoming anybody in. You know, the only thing is some preachers might want to see a conversion, but I wholeheartedly believe that would lie more with baptism. It would also lie with, you know, being a official member of the church as far as behind the pulpit. Anybody behind the pulpit, you know, should separate themselves from the regular church members, so they should have different set rules, but definitely not about joining. Because if you want to join a church, they should welcome you with open arms. So I just wanted to go over that really quick. So now let's get to what everybody's here for. Billy Graham, first name basis over here. He actually would come in and ask for her specifically.
Me or one other server.
Yeah, so let's get into this. All right, so for how many years and what is your occupation?
Okay, I have been in the service industry, and I mean almost every department of the service industry, for 26 years. I have been doing this since I was 14 years old. And I know the ins and outs of the restaurant and anything to do with restaurants. So, you know, I've worked in numerous restaurants. There was one that I did spend 17 years of my life with, regrettably, but I did. But yeah, I've been doing that for a while.
Alrighty. Let's see. Now, how did you first meet Billy Graham? Let's hear that story.
Okay, I was working a normal shift. I was fairly new to the job at this restaurant, but word was passing around because they would always call ahead to make sure that the back room was empty.
Okay, that's my Shih Tzu. You know what, guys? I told you she likes to snort.
Word would get around to the restaurant, oh, Mr. Graham or Mrs. Graham is on their way. We've got to make sure their table's ready, because they sat at a specific table in the very back of the restaurant so no one would bother them and no one would see them. And so we would make sure all that was set up. We had to have certain things done. But yeah, I was super excited, you know. Oh my gosh, Billy Graham is coming in. He's sitting in my section.
Yeah.
And at this time, he didn't know me. He was in my section.
Okay, so they just assumed that you would be good to serve him that day. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they knew I was a Christian. The job knew I was a Christian. They thought, what better to put a Christian person with Billy Graham?
Because she can have a conversation, or maybe we'll get to that later.
So yeah, we set it up. I was so excited. I almost couldn't breathe. I was like, I'm actually going to meet Billy Graham. I can't believe this, you know. The man is world known now.
The Pope even. All right, guys, so I had to get off for just a minute, and I had to go and grab my Billy Graham book, Billy Graham and His Friends. This book is so stupid thick. I'm trying to, do the best that I can to get through it. Oh my gosh, it's going to take me forever. But basically, let's just go over this real quick. Billy Graham and His Friends. In this most fascinating and extremely well-documented book, you will discover some little-known facts about one of the most well-known men of the 20th century, Billy Graham, as well as several of his influential and powerful friends. Who might they be? This adventure will take us inside Billy Graham's tent meetings and crusades, his visits to other countries, and his friendship with many presidents, national leaders, and the Pope. He even had direct ties to the Rothschilds. It's all in here, guys. You should totally get you a copy. Okay, so tell us a fun story that you remember about Billy Graham. Maybe how he made you laugh, or somebody, or like something that he did.
Oh, goodness. He wasn't overly friendly.
I'm sorry.
Really?
He was not what I expected. I thought he would be like the good Christian person that you are, like me and her, super outgoing, super happy, willing to talk to someone who, loves God and, wants to strike up that conversation. And
I can go from this to this. Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm 36 years old, and I got these snap indentures when I was 34. Hi, I'm Alicia. I am the girl with the snap indentures, and I am here to show you today what we look like with and without. Are you ready? Woo! Okay.
And he was not like that.
Well, how was he?
He was quiet.
Okay.
He was, he would talk to his wife, him and his wife, Mrs. Graham. They would come in, she was wheelchair bound most of the time that she was in there. So she had a nurse that always accompanied her.
Specifics.
So the nurse would push her up, up the ramp, come in the restaurant. She would set her up and everything. And Mrs. Graham, I loved her. She was amazing. She was so sweet.
I believe her name was Ruth.
It was Ruth. I just called her Mrs. Graham. I never wanted to be informal with her. I respected her highly. She would always ask for a hot tea. and a warm plate for her meal. She would always get an appetizer, and the appetizer would always have to have a side warm plate for her to keep that on there to keep the food warm. I didn't mind. She was so precious. She was such a nice lady, and she always had a smile on her face.
Well, things like that are simple, and that's a fun thing, that you can remember.
But Mr. Graham was not that way.
How he was announced when he came in.
Yes,
they did announce him. They did call. They did make special arrangements for him to sit in the back room. It was private. There was nobody else in it. And the only person that came back there was the server. Or maybe the manager would talk to him.
No, not even the manager. It was always just the server.
Okay. All right. Basically, did he get special treatment? I think you've already answered that.
Oh, he definitely got special treatment. Yeah. He was Billy Graham. Of course he got special treatment. Everybody in America, in the world, highly respects him because he's a man of God. He's the world-known man of God. And people treat him above others way better.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
What was a typical conversation like with Billy Graham and his wife?
Okay, a typical conversation with both of them, it was mainly led by Mrs. Graham.
Really? So she did most of the talking?
She did most of the talking. Mr. Graham would put in a word or a sentence. He would give a tiny smile. But he was very...
This was a day where cell phones were not a big thing. Did he have a cell phone?
No.
No. So it's not like he was just sitting playing on his phone. He just, how would he, stare?
Mrs. Graham would always sit on, so Mrs. Graham would sit on this side of the table and Mr. Graham would sit on this side of the table. And let's say the window's here. So her, him, Mrs. Graham, or the window, and then the nurse would sit beside Mrs. Graham. And Mr. Graham would not want to be bothered. He would want you to get in and get out, get his stuff, maybe a thank you here and there. It was never really, oh my gosh, hey Mr. Graham, how you doing today? How did the sermon go? Any type of conversation that I brought up, it wasn't really answered by him. It was answered by Mrs. Graham.
That's very strange because in the religious world, the male is supposed to be the dominant figure.
Agreed.
That is the way that's supposed to be. Okay, so if you did not know Billy Graham, would you say that he represented the gospel? Given who he was.
To be honest, if I had never met the man in my life, or I did not know who this man was, I would just think that he was a regular man walking into a restaurant to eat.
So there was nothing like that indicated that he would have been a Christian?
No.
Even a Christian, let alone a pastor.
No.
Christian?
No.
Okay. So did he say anything about the gospel in any visit that he had with you?
The only time you would know that he was a Christian was that he did pray before he ate.
Okay. All right, so this leaves the last question, guys, and this one's the doozy. I've saved it for last because I want you guys to understand that there is a Bible verse that full-heartedly goes along with what I'm getting ready to ask her, and this is something that a lot of people take very lightly. Now, I want you to understand, me and my sister were raised in the church house. Our daddy was when he was alive, my daddy was a preacher. And so I feel like I've kind of picked up where my daddy left off, though I don't consider myself to be a preacher by any means. I'm talking about studying the scripture. And I don't really have anybody to teach me the scripture except Jesus, so he's led me to find this verse. And I want you guys to know, when Charity was serving Billy Graham, she didn't really see the problem with this. That's because a lot of people don't understand what we're getting ready to say, guys. I wished we had proof, but I'm hoping you can see how genuine she is when she says this, because when she said this to me, it literally shocked me. And the fact that she didn't know that if she had got a picture of this, that she could have literally sold it to the National Enquirer. She could be a wealthy woman today. She really could be. Okay, Charity, let's find out what food Billy Graham would get when he came in. Was it a change? Was it repetitious? What did he get?
Billy Graham would change up his order.
Okay.
It would be different almost every single time that he came in, except for one thing. He would order salads. He would order sandwiches. He would order pastas. Mrs. Graham always got a chicken strip type appetizer. I don't want to say the name of the appetizer because I don't want to give away the restaurant that I worked at. But she would always order this chicken strip appetizer, which is very popular.
Did you ever get his autograph?
No.
No.
No, I wasn't allowed to ask.
Oh, and he just never offered.
And he never offered.
You never kept like a credit card receipt with his autograph?
No, I didn't think to do that. Yeah.
Because at least we'd have that to prove it.
I mean, the thing is, all I have to go off is my word and the people that worked with me.
That's right. She actually has people who know. Yeah.
I do have several people that I still talk to this day.
Yes.
That worked with me and know these stories.
And they have other stories, guys, but because they're not here, I'm not talking about it, but we're going to do this one.
Okay. So when they would first walk in, Mrs. Graham would order her hot tea. Mr. Graham would order...
Get ready for it, guys. What did he order to drink?
A Miller Lite.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's be specific about this. Hey, Charity, what size was it? Was it in a bottle or was it draft?
It was a schooner, so a 23 ounce.
A 23 ounce. He got the big boy. Now, how many did he drink with him visit?
Sometimes one, sometimes two. Very rarely three.
Very rarely three of a big boy. Guys, I am telling you right now, it says in the scripture that men of strength who mingle strong drink, honey, God said whoa. He said whoa, and I'm telling you right now, when God says whoa, he means whoa. And for the people that don't fear him, the people who claim to serve him, that doesn't fear the God that they claim to serve, that right there told me, because it says in the book of Matthew that a good tree, cannot have bitter fruit, and a bitter tree cannot have good fruit. That, my friends, is bitter fruit. And a man of God, especially one like Billy Graham, should know that a shepherd is called to separate himself from the flock, not participate in the sins of the flock. And if he's not setting an example, then he is not a shepherd. At that point, he becomes a wolf because his fruit became bitter. I know a lot of people say that when Billy Graham started out preaching, he was doing a good job, and he was preaching the goodness of God. He was preaching the truth. He really was. Somewhere along the lines, and I'm going to study this book, somewhere along the line, I don't think that it took very long for Billy Graham to start slipping, because he became friends with the Pope. He actually says that the Pope was one of the greatest leaders in the world. The Pope does not believe our gospel. It's completely different. In fact, the Pope recently changed the gospel, the Lord's Prayer. There is so much corruption in the church. There is so much corruption. I mean, guys, I've already done a few things on the Catholics, but I actually would like to do a video with someone who is Catholic so that I can ask them questions like I'm asking Charity, and so that my viewers can see, the ones who are interested.
I do want to tell you, the first time that he ordered The beer. Of course it shocked
From you.
From me.
So it did shock you.
It did shock me.
Okay.
Because I was like, such a man of God.
So you did know. I thought you didn't see. And nobody else saw anything wrong with that?
No one else in the restaurant saw anything wrong with it. No other employee had seen anything wrong with it. They said it was the norm. What's the big deal? And me, personally, I was like, a man of such high Christian stature, knowing what he knows and supposedly knowing the entire Bible and what it says.
And knowing that it says that a man of his stature should not drink. It actually says, Paul says that the men of strength are to be, what's that word? Me and Josh say it all the time. I'm going to put it down here because I can't remember it right now, but that's what they're supposed to be.
But I would go around and tell people, oh my gosh, Billy Graham just ordered a beer from me.
And what was their reaction?
They were just like, okay. And
Whatever.
I'm like, do you guys not realize what a big deal this is?
I'm telling you, the person that would take that picture and would send it into the Inquirer.
And now I regret not taking a picture.
And a day in their life.
It never crossed my mind to take a picture of that because, again, cell phones were not a thing. Picture cell phones were not a thing back then where you could have a phone on your camera. It was like Nokias and stuff like that, you know. And so to take a picture, I mean, I was so innocent. It just didn't cross my mind to be like, take a picture of Mr. Graham drinking a beer.
I am pretty sure that even though I wasn't living for the Lord at the time, I am pretty sure that just because I would have probably kept his receipt.
I think I
would
might
have took
at
a
one
copy
time
of it
kept a
or
receipt. I
something.
might have. It's been so long ago, I don't remember if I even tried. I don't think I did, but I might have. All I remember is being so devastated when I found out Miss Graham died. Because Miss Graham was a very godly woman.
Okay, did she speak about God?
She did.
She did.
She did. She asked me if I was saved. She asked me, you know, are you right with the Lord? She was a precious, precious woman.
Oh, I hope to meet her by the river one day.
She was amazing. And to know that she had to put up with Mr. Graham's. Can you imagine if what he's doing right there in public, what was he doing behind the scenes with Mrs. Graham?
Oh, my stars. The stories that she must have. You know, we're going to go over so many different things in the church house, and we're going to start talking about corruption, and I'm going to start challenging bullies. And, you know, it's not because I'm being hateful. This is not because I'm being bitter, and it is not because I'm trying to bash people. This is because the gospel is serious. This is really serious. God calls us as Christians to take it serious. So if people like Billy Graham, who are recognized as America's preacher, the world's preacher, does stuff like this, that's confusing to the lost and the saved world.
What makes you think, it makes you really think, if someone with such high stature as Billy Graham does these things openly in the public with strangers, because I was a stranger. He didn't know me.
Let me tell you guys, I'm going to say this because I absolutely know from personal experience. You don't know who your neighbors are. You really don't know who your neighbors are.
Yeah.
She knows you don't know who your neighbors are.
Because I thought, if he, the highest renounced Baptist preacher in the world, is going to drink in front of a complete stranger, what's these other preachers doing?
Oh my goodness.
What are they doing?
That's right, because I'm telling you what, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And I have found out recently that apparently the worst thing that I can conjure up in my mind that I have ever done in my life is not a drop in the bucket to most people's. I feel like I am so innocent, but I am willing to go down these rabbit holes to help people like you. Oh, I sure am. Okay. so nice. This conversation is just so nice. Okay, I am so glad that my sister decided to stop by and have this sensational conversation with me today.
You're welcome.
Ain't nobody got time for that, time for that, time for that. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do a video with my sister on TikTok since she did a video with me, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug her name.
You should follow me.
So that you can check out my sister. She's really goofy. In fact, she's kind of doing the same thing that I'm doing, only in a different way. I'm trying to expose the ridiculousness in the church and the apostasy in the church, but she is trying to expose how crazy it is to be a server or whatever.
The craziness and the extreme potential that people have to treat the service industry, the retail industry, any industry that contains customer service. I want to show people how they are really treated and what lengths people go to try and get what they want.
Give us a quick one, real quick. I mean, like super quick.
Oh, so I have this 90-year-old lady right now that has been obsessed calling me for 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's mad at me because her 90th birthday is on August 26th.
Mm-hmm.
It's mine and Steve's 20th wedding anniversary. I informed her that I'm not going to be there. She is livid because she wants me to make her drink. And no one else can. She is demanding that I do not go on my vacation and that I am to come in and work for her just so I can make her drink.
Entitled people.
Yeah. Forget about my 20th wedding anniversary. She's more important.
I plan on doing a video here pretty soon about entitlement, yeah, and that's pretty good. So check her out. Check her out on TikTok, and pretty soon I'll probably be up there with her on one of her videos. So anyhow, thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I want to let each and every one of you know that I do this out of love, because God commanded us to love our neighbor more than we love ourselves, and I really do love you guys. I just really hope that you have a beautiful and blessed day. Okay, that's it. Okay. That was a shovel.
Oh.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Josh likes this one where it's like that. The house is on fire.
The roof.
Oh, is it the roof?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, the roof is on fire. Ain't nobody got time for that.
The building is on fire,
Oh, we're gonna get you something to eat. Service, hello. We're hungry over here.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Charity. How can I help you?
I have been waiting for so long. I need to speak to a manager now.
Okay, I will love to go get the manager for you, but I do need to let you know something, that if your dog's not a service animal, they cannot be in the restaurant.
How dare you assume that my little precious dog is not a service animal? He's so tiny. It's not gonna hurt anybody.
Okay, I'm so sorry for assuming that your animal is not a service animal. However, you know, usually the smaller animals aren't really service animals. And I know I'm not allowed to ask for credentials. It's just we've been having this happen a lot lately, and I just want to be safe. So we're not doing anything illegal here. So I hope you understand.
How dare you speak to me in such a terrible manner? My dog has anxiety, and he wants to help me because I have anxiety. We never leave each other's sides. What's wrong with you? He's too little to hurt anybody. There's nobody in this godforsaken place anyway. I demand to speak to a manager this instant.
Okay, I'll go get her for you. Yes, Charity just come and got me. Is there a situation that I can help with?
your employee was trying to assume that my dog was not a service animal. What is she trying to do? Is she trying to assume that my dog has coronavirus? Is that what you're trying to do?
Ma'am, no one is assuming anything. We are just...
Are you assuming that I have This restaurant is saying that my dog has coronavirus. Coronavirus!
Ma'am, no one is saying that your baby has or your dog has coronavirus. Nobody. And I mean nobody. If you cannot keep your tone down and your attitude calm, then we're going to have to ask that you leave, or you can be quiet and enjoy a meal.
Oh, I cannot believe it. This place is trying to say that my dog has coronavirus. I'm not leaving until the cops get here.
Man, that's enough. Get out of our restaurant now. I am over this. You're done.
No!